Hey, hey dude, wake up. Wake up right now, wake up. It's like 9 a.m. dude, we're not doing this today, I'm sorry. It's not happening. I'm going back to sleep. Oh, hey dude, you know that thing that your boyfriend said yesterday that totally wasn't a big deal? It's actually a huge deal. It's a giant deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. You should worry about it. You should probably text him right now, even though it's 9 a.m. and he's probably asleep. You should still probably totally text him. Fuck. Your boyfriend's going to break up with you. Here's the thing, I know that you probably think that what your boyfriend said wasn't a big deal, but his tone of voice really read a different way. I'm pretty sure he's gonna break up with you today. So you should probably be aware of that. Just, you know, keep it in the back here. Just keep it there. Just know it's happening. Okay, yeah, okay, alright. Yep. Oh, also you're fat. Alright, well, I'm not getting any more sleep, so... Hey, I know that we read somewhere that you look like a thumb. I think it was on Lolcow. I just wanted to say that now that we're actually looking in the mirror, you totally do look like a thumb. Like a thumb with teeth. Alright, so hey guys, I really want to talk to you guys about something, and due to recent events, it's kind of encouraged me to make this video even more. I really want to talk about asking for help and being okay with asking for help and being open about maybe some mental issues that you are struggling with. So for those of you who watched my previous video on BDD and anorexia, you may have heard me mention that I do have OCD, and it is something that I did go to therapy for, but it was a long journey before I decided that I needed to get some help. So this is going to be my story and when I decided to get help and how and what came of it, essentially. So in my second year of university, I was feeling a lot of pressure. Things were harder, classes were getting harder, and I was kind of used to the schedule, but not really yet. And it was finals week again, and finals week is insanely intense. You're studying all the time, you're worried about whether or not you're going to pass your tests. Even if you do pass your test, do you get a good enough score? And on top of that, you never see daylight because you're always inside studying for things, especially during the winter semester. So there's no sun. It's awful. And because of this, unfortunately, there are some people that do take their lives during this time. And for whatever reason, my university had a pretty high suicide rate. So this year I was studying and I was sitting next to these people who were talking about a girl that was found, a body that was found in the chemistry lab. She had taken her own life, and it wasn't the first time I had heard a story about this, but for whatever reason it stuck with me, and it stuck with me hard. And I started processing what I was hearing, and it started off with how awful it would be to be in that situation where you think that ending your life is the best situation, how much pain she must have been in. And from there it moved to how awful would it be if I was in that amount of pain, how awful would it feel if suicide was even a thought in my head. And then from there it was suicide was a thought in my head, and then from there it was, oh my god, I'm going to kill myself. And it was like intense, as in I was telling myself every like 5 minutes, like, you are going to kill yourself, you are going to kill yourself, and it never went away. It was to the point where I would see miscellaneous objects and I would convince myself and fantasize about how I would kill myself. It got to the point where I was sleeping in my bed and I was acting as if it was the boogeyman, as if at any moment all of a sudden I was going to be swallowing a bunch of pills and killing myself. I'm not even kidding you. It was like, it was a poisonous thought in my head, and I could not for the life of me stop thinking about it. So I got to the point where I was like, alright, I'm suicidal. I am a suicidal student in finals. It's hit me. It has come to me. This is it. This is what I have to deal with. And I was in finals and I was writing one of my tests and I couldn't get it out of my head. I was trying to read the questions, but every question, you know, I'd get halfway through it and I would think about, you know, all these horrible thoughts again. And I was so distracted that I ended up halfway through the test getting up, and I just couldn't do it anymore, handed it in and walked away. And as I was walking away, when I was in the hallway, I saw a poster. And the poster read, "Stressed about tests? Puppy therapy." And I thought to myself, puppies. If there's anything that's going to cure me of this issue, it's the innocence of a puppy, right? I just imagine millions of puppies frolicking around in a pen as their innocent little tongues licked my face, and all of my worries would go away. So I wrote down the room number and I went to that specific place, which happened to be the school therapist. And as I walked into the door, I saw the puppy therapy, but the puppy therapy was packing up. It was pretty much done for the day, and it was actually, puppy therapy was really older golden retriever therapy, and only one of them, but it was still pretty cool. It was a great dog, and I got to pet her for a while, and she was fantastic. But, you know, she had to go, and I was, again, at ground zero. I had nothing. And I thought to myself, you know, well, I'm already here, and what do I have to lose at this point? I could kill myself at any moment. So I walked up to the desk, and I said to the lady, I said, is there anybody who can see me? And she said, oh yeah, sure, if you come back at 12 tomorrow, I can get you an appointment. And I was like, I'll be there. And usually I'm really bad for keeping appointments, but this one I was dedicated to. I got on the train, I rode to the therapist, and I walked in there and I sat down, like I was like on a mission. I like sat down and I looked at the dude and I just said, listen, I am going to kill myself. And the guy looked at me kind of confused, like as if it was like I was demanding something, or like it was just so matter of fact the way that I said it. And he said, all right, well, let's talk about things, you know. And he started talking to me about things and started trying to assess the situation. He was asking me if I was stressed, if I felt overwhelmed, how my family life was, all of these questions. And all of a sudden things started to shift, and he started to ask me questions like, do you have a hard time getting things out of your head? Do you feel the need to do things that may be unnecessary but sometimes calm your mind down? Do you have a history of obsessive compulsive disorder in your family? And he all of a sudden started to connect the dots, and he kind of smirked and he said, you're not suicidal. He said, I think you have OCD. And I said, OCD? I was like, I don't wash my hands 100 times. I don't flick the light on and off a million times. Like, I don't have OCD, you know. My dad has OCD. I don't have OCD. And the guy said, listen, there are many forms of OCD, and physical manifestation is just one of them. He said, I think what your manifestation usually comes in is questions and fantasization. So your obsession is a thought or a worry, and your compulsion is to ask the question or to fantasize about it. And he said, this is something that you can tackle. You can deal with this. And I was thinking to myself, like, how can I deal with, like, this is my identity. I've been doing that my whole life, like, since I can remember I've been doing that. And he said, no. He said, listen, think of an obsession as a mosquito bite, and think of the compulsion as an itch. So if you have a mosquito bite, you're going to get an itch. If you scratch it, it's just going to get itchier. If you don't scratch the itch, it will go away. He said, that's how your OCD works. You get an obsession, if you don't feed into the compulsion, you'll be okay. And he said, it's going to be hard at first, it's going to be a journey, but we're going to take steps together, and maybe even if you're open to it, some medication, and we're going to work on it. And the amount of relief that I felt of like, holy shit, this has a name, I'm not suicidal, I have some things that I need to work on, but it's going to be okay. And it was the first time that I felt like, okay, this is going to be okay. I can deal with this. He's telling me I can deal with this, I can deal with this. And ever since that day, I practiced the exercises that he gave me. I went back, I, you know, told him about how things were going, I told him about my progress, and I am a million times better than I was when I walked in that office. Mind you, it's been like 4 or 5 years, but I mean, it's well worth the effort and the progress. And I'm not perfect now. I definitely have my days and my moments, and I have anxiety attacks, but I am a lot better than I used to be. And I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it weren't for going and asking for help when I needed it. So I guess the moral of the story is when, no matter what you think it is, no matter how bad you think it is always okay to ask for help, and it's going to make things easier for you. And not just temporarily. If you're dedicated to it, it'll make it easier for you indefinitely. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you kind of enjoyed the story. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, you know, help is out there, and don't be afraid to talk about these things. I'll talk to you guys next time, whenever that is. I hope that you guys all have a good day, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe, hit the like button, and thank you for the new support and everything that you guys have done for me. It's fantastic, and I will see you guys next time.